Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of The Unwatched Pile, the show where we knock over that unwatched pile collection, the movies that you put in your collection that you haven't seen. You knock them over and you say, you close your eyes and you like reach around and you're like, what, this one. You know, that's somehow how I do that sometimes.
Is that how you do it?
Well, no, actually, I don't want to mess up my movies, so I don't knock them over, but you could.
You like I don't know if you've seen some Criterion Closet videos now where for the last pick, some of the guests or people who go in it will close their eyes and like spin around and whatever their hand lands on, they pick it. Bold choice.
You know what? They're secure in their knowledge of film. That's good.
They are.
That's good.
They are.
But yeah, we're back. We're back here for Unwatched Pile. Like I said, the show where we go into our collections, we pick an unwatched movie, and yeah, I know that might sound weird to some people, but if you're a collector and you're watching this show, it's not weird at all. So you go in there, you pick it out, you watch it. We come on here to discuss, and then we go back into our collections and we say, hey, what is a good film that will pair well with this? Makes us think about our collections, makes us go back and rewatch something we probably liked. It's good stuff. I like this show. And we always bring a guest along with us. This time around, this is a reschedule. He was supposed to be here, I think, a month or so ago. And he is our friend from the Punk Vacation podcast and They Live by Film, Mr. Chris Haskell. What's up?
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
How's it going where you're at?
Doing great. Austin, Texas is doing great. Sorry to leave y'all hanging a month or two back. We had a power outage, I think is the excuse I'm going with.
Cool. I mean, you know what? You had that thing, what was it, a couple years ago where it was so cold there that the whole place shut down?
Oh, yeah.
So I believe it, even though you've already done it, you know, so like for it to happen again already, like I'm like, okay, but all right, we'll go with it.
Good evening. How are y'all today?
Wonderful. You know, been with the kid all day, just me and the kid. I was down in this room right here. As you can see, there's still some blankets on like a shelf right here. I've been alphabetizing my collection.
Okay.
First time ever. So
does that mean you're breaking apart the labels and you're just going straight alpha?
No, it is still label oriented, but because it's so large, I don't want to sit there and like keep everything where it's at and then like sit there and try to pull it like, ooh, this needs to go here. So I'm just kind of like making room and then taking something from one shelf and moving it to another shelf.
Yep.
You know, it just, you know, changing the vibe of the room. So yeah, and maybe it'll fit better this time. This because you know with the way the labels are in my room, it could fit better in a different arrangement. So, but I did that all day. Andrew, what did you do today?
I woke up and got myself ready for the show. Pretty much.
Wow, dude, you're killing it.
Killing it.
That's awesome.
Ironically, my day doesn't start until after the show ends, so that's when the real day starts. For me.
He's a night owl. He's up all night. So.
That's the thing. My schedule is reversed. Sleep all day, up all night.
Really?
It's a cool way to live. Wouldn't recommend it for everyone.
Yeah,
but...
for Batman.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
does your work allow you to do this? Like, do you have a night work?
Well, I don't. I think is I'm technically medically disabled, so I kind of have to make my own schedule due to various health reasons and stuff.
The natural cadence. What's it called? Circadian rhythms.
Indeed, and I've been on this schedule for years, so switching back would be hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it might be a shock to the system if you had
to go, when your internal clock gets so used to things, it's tough to switch back.
Yeah.
So I basically got up, got ready for this, ate beforehand, and then preparing for the next episode of Chasing Labels, which arrives sooner than one would think here. There's announcements every single day from all the various labels, so I'm always on the lookout.
He knows he's been doing it for a good minute on his podcasts. Please, if nobody's of course watching this has ever heard any of Chris's work, please tell us about what you do.
Well, probably like a lot of people that you have on the show, I tried starting a podcast during COVID. Yes. I've been watching movies my whole life and around them and collecting them. My collection currently is like 6,200, I think.
Oh yeah.
But for about 25 years in now of buying slowly. then so initially we started it. They Live by Film, which was me and an Irish guy and a guy from the mountains of Virginia, Zach and Adam. That's still technically going, although we are finally going to be taking a break here. We're going to finish right now. We're going through Tobe Hooper's movies.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, back half of Tobe Hooper's career has some awesome movies for anybody who's wondering. Way under discussed stuff. About a year and a half ago, I realized that nobody was doing a Vinegar Syndrome podcast, and I was like, why? That's crazy. So I started Punk Vacation, and that's gotten to be great. I have a co-host now. There's a third co-host that talks about porn exclusively, which is a big part of Vinegar Syndrome's, personality. Not mine as much, so I'm glad to have somebody who can be an expert in it.
Is that Celeste?
Celeste
yes.
Cabra.
We've had Celeste on the show many times. Yes,
many times.
Of course you have. Yeah, I was watching one of the episodes recently. She was talking about it was one from just like a few weeks back. Anyway,
we haven't had her on, and it's been months. But,
months. Okay, fine. It was
It's been a while since we've had her on, but I think we've had her on like three or four different times. I think.
Yeah, she talks about one time. She talked about Black Narcissus.
Yeah, she was watching that for the first time. Yeah.
And anyways, it was cool. I mean, Celeste is great.
Yeah.
And then Eli is the guy. He's a stand-up comic in LA. He's the other one who's joined as a co-host. And then Ryan asked me to help with the Mono Macabro podcast, so we do that. And then just if anybody loves Shaw Brothers stuff, I'll just plug one thing really quick. None of this I make money on, by the way. There's no plug in the sense of I'm trying to get a business going. But just for fun, there's a Substack where me and about 8 other people who are all in the Vinegar Syndrome Discord that happen to love Shaw Brothers stuff. About once a week, we go through the physical copies of whatever Shaw Brothers stuff we have. So we started with the Shaw Scope Volume 1 from Arrow. And we just finished the 10th installment of that. And so there'll be 2 more, then we'll be done with Arrow Volume 1. There's just talking, writing about movies. I love it. So
I was going to say, even you plugging it is not going to help you here. We're not.
That's cool, right?
We're fine, but look, nobody's making money. We're not making money.
I'm
losing money. If anything, we're losing money. Yeah, we pay for.
Because of all the things you buy to talk about. You know what I mean?
No. I mean, I'd probably be buying a lot of stuff anyway, but it's the things you have to buy to do these shows, like subscriptions to StreamYard and things like that. We're losing money all the time. So
I just meant just like the material thing, just the nature of the beast itself. You have to, have to spend money to talk about it, and you wouldn't unless you were very lucrative on one end, it wouldn't balance out in the end. Sure. But I remember when those Shaw Scope first set dropped, that thing was super hyped, and I remember it sold out pretty fast.
No, them things are still around.
Initially, the first one it was selling quickly, and now it reminds me that there's a 4th set that I still need.
Yeah, there's a 4th set. I still need to get it myself, but I know that they're going to be around. They're kind of hanging around.
I look at my 3rd. I have 1, 2, and 3 like kind of stacked up each other every single day. So I have to move them off of this table here in order to set up everything. So I see them all the time, and I'm like, man, I gotta actually dive into these.
Yeah, Volume 1 is done. It's out. Okay. But still, that's like 4 years old.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been a while.
It took a minute.
Time goes by fast.
Yeah, but that's great, man. I'm obviously, we're the same way, man. We like film so much. We find I keep coming up with reasons to do more shows. Like we're over here. I got one show. I'm like working on.
How's Movie Mutations?
Oh, I got one more show to edit that's going to come out soon, and that's the finale for season 1, and then I'll be starting to like pry into like getting people gathered for season 2. Okay. Yeah, I mean, by the end of it, we've gotten the game to like a good place, and now it's about some like minor things and just getting more people involved. So anybody out there who wants to do that, watch the old episodes. At least I would say the last 2 episodes of the season are going to be your best examples of what the game is. Yeah, but then we got other stuff too we're working on. I'm like, dude, like I don't know why I'm doing this myself, but I love doing this. So
I credit Steven as the producer now. That's kind
of please do, because I am the one that's making our lives harder by doing more stuff.
That's true.
But all right. So yes, please go check out what Chris has got going on. All them things, Punk Vacation. I believe that's part of the Someone's Favorite Productions,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep,
so, and so he's got a bunch of Ryan Verrill's got a bunch of stuff cooking on that network. So,
Yep.
let's get into this, guys. Well, before we do, actually, Josephine's jumped in the chat saying hey to all three of us. If it wants to pop up.
Hello, Josephine.
There it goes. Sorry, I was froze for a second. And I'm freezing again.
Are you freezing?
It's working for us, though, just so you know.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Steven, how is Adeline? And who is Adeline?
Oh, I think Steven dropped out.
Oh, Steven's freezing.
Sometimes the internet goes, but Adeline is his daughter, the little girl.
Okay.
But let me pull up. No. Is he back? Oh, no.
Yeah, she's.
So, Andrew, while
you guys still there? Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I'll continue. So, yeah, Josie says for some unwatched stuff, it's Beach Blanket Bingo from 65, Computer Chess from 2013, which is that documentary about the computer that plays chess. That's the title. Let's see, Gold Comfort Farm, Fly Away Home is something from my childhood. But the Anna Paquin and Jeff Daniels film from 1996.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentioned this on Chasing Labels. It's the one where she raises like little ducks and then teaches them how to fly.
Okay.
And she creates like a little like hang glider flying thing and teaches them how to fly.
I had a big crush on Anna Paquin back in the day. I don't know if she's like a kid in this movie, then maybe not. But
well, she is.
Okay.
But this was before she would be in X-Men, which I guess was kind of a breakout role. And then after that, of course, she was in the sequel to X-Men films and then True Blood on HBO.
Yeah.
But let's see, what else is here? Kamari from 79 and Judy Berlin from 99. But I don't know if Steven's going to be back or not. Oh, he's gone.
I'm sure
I guess I could continue without him because I've done this enough times. So I guess we'll start with you, what your unwatched pile pick is, and then we'll see if Steven pops back in.
Sure.
If not, then we'll go to me. So what was the movie that you chose for your unwatched biopic that you dusted off to show us?
Okay, so I'll get right to it. But I got to ask your experience with Bruno Mattei in general.
Coincidentally, I was checking. I think I've seen 5 of his films.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
And a lot of it is due because of the boutique labels that have put his stuff out.
Yep.
That's why.
Yep.
That's why.
He's sort of like Hell of the Living Dead is a great one of his. Rats is a really good one of his called Night of Terror. Strike Commando is a lot of fun. He's one of these directors that does rip off like Italian those Italian movies that are kind of famous for like ripping off Jaws and like ripping off famous Hollywood movies and stuff. He's one of the kings of that. I love his stuff. Not everybody does, but I'm a big Bruno Mattei fan. And he made a movie in, let's see, what year did this come out? I thought I had it handy and I just forgot. 1990 something, 94, called Eyes Without a Face, or the American title is called Madness. And it's one that is part of the Forgotten Jolly sets from Vinegar Syndrome. Mm-hmm. So it's in one of the recent boxes from them.
I believe it's volume 9.
That's right. They're up to 9 now. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. A lot of the early ones, at least they're limited editions, have been sold out for years. But yeah, they're all the way up to 9 now. Those boxes have always fascinated me because I feel like you can only find those movies in those sets. So this one particularly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna talk about that in just a minute, right? How hard it is to find before actually getting the disc. But they have if anybody's curious to dig into the sets, if you like just crazy surrealist type stuff, volume 7 is probably the one to start with. Volume, I think it's 5 and 6 have some really solid Italian giallos. And I don't know exactly, I don't know if I need to go into this too much, so I'll just do it in like 10 seconds. But giallo is Italian for yellow. And back in the 20s and 30s and 40s, there were these physical books that they had that were yellow. And they were these kind of like dime store fiction, pulpy kind of crime. In the States, they had noir, right? And here they had giallo, and there was always some kind of killer, and there was always kind of twisty and turny. And then they started turning them into movies in about this maybe like late 60s, 70s. Huge boom in movies, and they eventually got more bloody and crazier. And Mario Bava's famous for having one of the early ones. But then Bruno Mattei comes out in 1994 with Madness. So how do y'all typically do you want me to just talk about the movie?
Yeah, just describe like what obviously the plot, what you thought of the movie, and yeah.
I liked it. It is I'm gonna wait to say what movie this is ripping off because I'm gonna talk about it in the pairing.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
this is a rip-off.
Little hint of coming attractions.
Yeah, that's right. But it's the premise is there's a female illustrator, and she has a writer as well, and they make comic books. And the character in the comic books is called Dr. Dark, I believe. And this Dr. Dark character is fictional, but there is a real life copycat killer who's going around killing people in the same way, removing their eyes in the killing, and then putting glass shards in their eyes for some reason, and then depositing the eyes in the home of the author. And that's how the first kind of like 30 minutes goes. So she's terrified because she's in that whole conversation about what's the word? Wanting to, where the government wants to restrict the content in movies.
Censorship.
She's like, hey, this book has nothing to do with these killings. But then once the eyes start showing up in her home, she's like, okay, maybe they have a little bit to do with the killings. And she goes on an emotional journey herself, trying to come to terms with that. And should we avoid spoilers?
Yeah, I would avoid spoilers, I guess, if people, I can't believe the movie's 32 years old, but yeah, I typically avoid spoilers just in case people are sensitive to those things. I mean, it is kind of like a whodunit murder mystery slasher film, so I guess you don't want to reveal who the eventual killer is or whatever twists and turns they may be. But
I mean, this is the funny thing though. So this might be a topic though to talk about, Andrew, because obviously this movie's, what'd you say, 32 years old? Yeah, from 1984. But like, really? It's only a month old, right? Because how would you have seen this movie before Vinegar Syndrome put it out?
Yeah, and that is kind of the cusp of what is most fascinating about a lot of the things we talk about here on Chasing Labels is specifically from Vinegar Syndrome. I can say that as someone who covers them every single month and just covered them this past Monday. A lot of their movies are really tough to find to watch in decent quality, let alone at all. I was telling both Steven and Chris that before this, the only way to currently see it, at least that I could find, was a VHS rip on YouTube in like 360p resolution. It's like not even upgraded to DVD level. It was a tough watch to say the least, specifically with the giallo, where a lot of the action, if you will, takes place in dark settings. Like it's usually like at night or indoors, and there's a lot of close-ups of violence happening, a lot of quick cuts. It's tough to watch that if the quality of the thing you're watching is so low. And the one hallmark for Vinegar Syndrome that's been the way for years has been them kind of rescuing I would say rescuing a lot of movies that haven't really seen the light of day in good quality. I'm assuming that the Blu-ray must have been a revelation compared to a VHS YouTube rip.
Can I show stuff on you? So this is what the cover looks like. Let's see if I need to get it's gonna blank out some of the stuff in the background, isn't it? Oh well.
That's the autofocus.
Yeah, let me see here real quick. Can I turn this off quickly? Let's see. I don't want to take too long on this. No, okay, fine. Anyways, so you can kind of see if I put it right here. Oh, that's better.
That's better.
So it's a masked killer going around. They've got a mask over their face. It's a beautiful presentation. They did a fantastic job on the restoration of it. I don't know the elements, like the quality of the elements they got in. I haven't listened to
yeah, this is stuff that just I go through so many times. So I think it was I think it was from the original like Camera Elements or something like that.
I wouldn't
Let
be
me see.
surprised.
Bruno Mattei. I always forget how to spell Mattei. It's E-I.
Mattei, yeah.
Yes. And yeah, because it is volume 9, and I think it's like the first disc on that. It's like, I remember talking about this set when it came out. It says newly scanned and restored at 2K from its 35 millimeter original negative.
Nice.
It's kind of amazing, one, that the movie was shot in 35 because it's a relatively low budgeted movie, like from what I understand. And like you were saying, the movie's interesting because it's like an homage to giallos of like the 60s and predominantly the 70s. Like I'm thinking of like the big ones, like the ones by Dario Argento, the ones by Fulci, the ones by Bava. Like those are the ones that people remember the most, like Deep Red. And I'm just looking at my shelf right now, and like Bird with Crystal Plumage and things like that. And it's an homage to it, but it's like 1994. So he's like 2 decades late on it.
Yeah. But Lamberto Bava, Bruno Mattei, Michele Soavi, they were like that late 80s, early 90s. They were kind of kings.
Still kind of utilizing that giallo style.
Sure.
And what is interesting is that, yeah, you were saying that the English title is Eyes Without a Face, which is the famous French film from 1960, that horror film, which is like held up as a high prestige, French cinema from the 1960s. And it's almost as if he did that just to like capitalize on that. Because trust me, when I went to look for this movie, putting Eyes Without a Face in a Google search will only get you that original movie from 1960. You will not find anything else, because that title is so iconic specifically to that movie, which has now received Blu-ray releases from all over the place. I know Criterion had one from years ago. It's been released, I think, overseas as well. But that's an all-time great horror film. But Steven's back. Oh, good.
Oh, hopefully I'm here for good.
We'll so we just kind of pretty much.
I've been listening.
Oh yeah, we've just kind of wrapped up with Chris's choice. So I didn't know where you wanted to move to now.
You're always next.
Okay. Up next on the docket is a movie that I've been wanting to watch for either 15 years or longer.
This blew my mind. And he hadn't seen this classic.
It is the Joe Wright adaptation of Pride and Prejudice, starring a lot of people that are very familiar certainly now, and even at the time. Keira Knightley at the time was just coming off of Pirates of the Caribbean. This came out in 2005, so the movie celebrated its 20th anniversary last year, hence why this 4K came out last year. And I remember when the Blu-ray came out, I think in 2010, 2011, I think it was 2010, and like I wanted to buy it at the time, I just never did. And I have this idea, sometimes I get these little funny things in my head where I want to read the book before I watch the movie, but I never get around to reading the book until years and years later. Like I just read Pride and Prejudice like last month. Like just read it. So it was something I wanted to do. Like it was like a book reading goal as well. And then now I'm watching the adaptation. Then I'm going to go back and watch the Colin Firth adaptation, the BBC one from the 90s, which everyone seems to love as well. But I've been wanting to watch this pretty much since, I would say, 2010. So 15, 16 years. And it is as good as everyone said it was. It is. Because there's been a fervor and I've seen clips of it on every social media platform possible. If you go on to Letterboxd, it's incredibly highly rated by not only everyone I follow, but just people in general. And yeah, I forgot how good of a director Joe Wright is, because I don't think he's made something truly stupendous in quite a little bit. I think this was back at the time during the 2000s where Joe Wright was doing some of his best work. I think
Atonement was.
Yeah, I was going to say Atonement was probably the first thing I saw from him. Then he, of course, he did this and then Atonement. Let me bring up his filmography here.
We'll forget about Peter Pan. Or
I was just going to say, because that's kind of one of the recent ones. So he did Pride and Prejudice, Atonement. He did The Last King, which is kind of underrated. And then he did Pan, Darkest Hour, which was actually one of the most highly watched movie reviews I ever did here on this channel. If anybody wants to go back and see that, you can see me impersonating um, Winston Churchill at the beginning of the movie. At the
Wow.
beginning of the movie,
Worth the price of admission, just right there.
yeah.
Yep. You're right.
And what is interesting is, so this movie is actually does the book, I think, a service. It's one of those times where I was like, the adaptation may be better than the actual book itself.
Wow.
and I don't know if that's a hot take or not a hot take, because no one ever really says that for the most part. And the reason being is the cast is so good, the world is so well developed. There's such an energy and a vibe throughout this movie of various kinds. For those of you who do not know the story of Pride and Prejudice, it is typically centered around the character of Elizabeth Bennet, who is portrayed in this adaptation by Keira Knightley. And it's essentially about her and her sisters are being married off to people, basically, or at least her and a couple of her sisters, and them kind of traversing the life of early 19th century England. It is set in 1813. So think around the time of when Bridgerton is set. For those of you who watch the Bridgerton series, that's the same timeline as this.
If you know anything about, if you've ever heard me on a podcast talk about my feelings on British posh, this time period of British, I'm not a fan.
To be honest, you kind of have...
There are exceptions, but...
Yeah. You kind of have to be... You have to be a fan of period pieces. You kind of have to be a relative fan of 19th century British literature to kind of envelop yourself in this world. And I guess I'm one of those people.
Andrew wants to sit in a chair with a tall back and sip tea.
Well, a tall back chair would be great for your posture. I think it would.
Sure.
I've got tea working right here.
Yeah.
Had a sore throat. I got to say though, I'm a Colin Firth truther. So I don't know. In my mind, there will never be a better version than the BBC one.
Right.
However, they did a great job with that. And I agree. Bridget Jones is also a nice, easy, like lubricated way into the book. If you don't want to be in a period piece. It's a pretty good movie too. And they do a good job with it. So there's a couple different ways to slide into that if you don't want to just rob it.
Yeah, and Pride and Prejudice has been adapted in various forms over the years, whether it be a more direct adaptation, like set during the period, costuming and all that kind of stuff, or whether, like you're saying, like a Bridget Jones, where they take the premise and repackage it into something that's a little more modern day digestible. We see that with Shakespeare all the time. Okay. I mean, we see that happens very, very often. But this, just to go back to this, what really captivated me about the movie is is not only was the acting and the cast so great, the world looked so beautiful. Like, he really was able to capture the lushness of this early 19th century Great Britain, but specifically the one that Jane Austen describes. Specifically, the grand manors, the grand houses, the grand scenery, the forestation, all this kind of stuff. The score in this movie is surprisingly amazing. Just astonishing. I don't know, the aesthetic of this whole movie, the vibe of this whole movie is incredibly epic. And it's like an epic romance, sweeping romance. You got the music, the yearning. I'm a sucker. I'm a hopeless romantic, so I'm a sucker for romance. So I guess that's why I got really wrapped up in this.
He's a hopeless romance, and he thinks about time all the time.
Yeah. They go hand in hand. Think about it. Relationships and time, all that kind of stuff.
Not related, but I hope you've seen a lot of Wong Kar-wai's movies as well.
I have.
Okay,
Talk about yearning.
Wong Kar-wai and Richard Linklater.
I think about In the Mood for Love a lot. And then
I would imagine so, given your
I think about that movie a lot because it's one of the most beautiful movies of all time. Sure. And the whole movie's understated. It's like yearning on an underground level the whole time.
And like that anticipation.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yep. So is Pride and Prejudice, though. Great movie. Great.
Like I was saying, really great. I just wanted to bring up the cast really quick because the cast is a lot of surprises in here, especially if you hadn't seen the movie. But if you're in the movie space, you're like, oh, I recognize this person. I recognize that person. Obviously, like I said, Keira Knightley being Elizabeth Bennet, the kind of main focus of the story. The Mr. Darcy, Matthew McFadden, who probably a lot of people know now for being in the HBO series Succession, which he was great in. Brenda Blethyn, who was in Mike Leigh's Secrets and Lies. And I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't seen her since I've seen Secrets and Lies. Rosamund Pike is in the movie as one of the the sisters and one of the daughters. Jenna Malone is another name you don't see a lot of. Carey Mulligan was in the film as well. A young Carey Mulligan before she had been in, oh God, anything we would recognize her in, like Shame or in Education or any of the other films that she's been in. Donald Sutherland plays like the patriarch or the father of the movie. And I was like, oh, it's nice to see Donald Sutherland on screen again since he recently passed. I really was all in on this movie, and I understand why people really love it. I know a lot of the love for this movie, I think, is not shadowed or kind of, sweetened by people's love for the period piece or the love for the romance. But I found that just on a cinematic level, that it was really good. Like, not even someone who was too attached to the story. I thought cinematically it was really fantastic. And it's nice to go back to a time where a studio release actually put special features on their Blu-rays and on their releases. That was kind of nice. Like here you get like conversations with the cast and with the director. You get like a making of, and you get like there's a commentary by Joe Wright on here. There's never commentaries by the directors on mainstream studio releases anymore. Like that's just not a thing. It's not a thing. But back in the 2000s or 2010s, that was a standard for like every studio release. This was put out by Universal, if anybody wants to know which studio put it out. And also the 4K looks great. The movie was shot probably on 35 millimeter back in the mid 2000s. So it looks really lush, a lot of earthy tones, because of the clothing and the setting and all that stuff. Looks fantastic. It really is a nice upgrade for those of you who are interested in getting it, or like me, waiting 15 years and buying it for the first time. That's me.
He lives his life that way. He thinks about time. He literally puts in action things he's going to do 15 years from now. He's like, I know, like within the next couple decades, I will be buying this movie.
Yeah, I cannot tell you how many times I came across it at a store. It was in bargain bins. It was cheap as can be, and I just never buy it. I don't know why. And then sometimes you get to the point where that thing that you've come across so many times is no longer available. Because it happens. Happens.
I feel like we should at least mention how revolutionary and like funny and charming Jane Austen is as a writer too. Just because, like, the success of all these movies is because of her words, right? Yeah. And it's crazy. I didn't even know women could read, let alone write like that.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. I know people may take that in a negative light, but we're talking early 19th century.
Yeah.
I mean, the society back then, obviously masterfully patriarchal, in terms of like education and roles in society. So you are right. In order to kind of like be able to do what we kind of take advantage of now, reading and writing, you had to have been of some wealth to be able to do that.
True.
And Jane Austen's stuff has continued to be adapted over and over again. And the story, I didn't even get into what the story is. Well, Elizabeth Bennet and her sisters are kind of being married off, and she ends up striking up this relationship kind of with a Mr. Darcy character, portrayed by Matthew McFadden, who's rather stern and kind of put offish. He looks handsome, he looks fine, but his attitude isn't quite there. You know what I mean? He's not quite attractive in that regard. And then over time, things get revealed and kind of his sternness becomes softer. Their relationship changes and things kind of go from there. If you've not seen the story, if you've not read the story, you've seen probably the story over time. Like I said, it's been redone so many times over and over again. But I thought it was just a magical romantic story. With a satisfying conclusion, which is nice, because usually a lot of these stories end on a very sour note. I'm thinking of Wuthering Heights, by the way, which was made around the same time. That's the opposite of Pride and Prejudice.
You mean the next movie, Atonement?
Yeah. What is interesting is I was thinking of that movie this whole time while I was watching it. I'm like, those two movies cannot be the more opposite of one another in terms of just how you feel afterwards. When you get to the end of this movie, you feel happy and hopeful, like you want to go on this your own romantic life journey and all this kind of stuff. You want to find your someone. Atonement is a little bit different. A little bit different. But Stephen, I'm curious about your film because it's a film by an all-time director, I would say, in Mike Nichols, but it's a bit of a different film from him.
Yeah, I'm still curious about this movie after I've watched it. I'm still wondering things. So yeah, I chose the, at the time when this release came out, it was kind of a hard to find thing. And it was not anything I was really aware of, but Indicator made this very in my face. And then Andrew, I think, watched it for the show and talked about it. And I was like, I gotta get this release just to watch it. And it took me a little bit. It took me a couple years, but I got around to it. And that is the Mike Nichols directed Day of the Dolphin. Epic. Look at that epicness right there. Wow.
Hell of a cover.
I know. So, of course, as you can see, starring George C. Scott, you got him playing a marine kind of marine biologist. He studies water animals and specifically dolphins here, and has been studying them. And right off the bat, in the beginning of the movie, he literally gives you all you need to know about dolphins, like right to your face. And straight into your soul. And this movie, he's been researching them, and he's been able to figure out how to communicate with them, teach them how to talk to us. And of course, it's not like they're saying like, hello, how you doing? Like, it's not like that. It's like, certain vowels, you're able to make out some of what they're saying, but it's mostly like, specific sounds that they can do. And so, yeah, you come to find out as this knowledge of what he's been doing is getting out there, there's now a conspiracy to use the dolphins to assassinate the president of the United States. Does this movie sound like something that would be like a crazy off the wall adventure? Yeah, but it's not. It's played super serious as dirt. I'm curious. I know, Andrew, Chris, have you gotten a chance to check this out?
I really wanted to watch. Okay, so I like Mike Nichols a lot, right?
Yes.
Like this came out just like 2 or 3 years after The Graduate?
Yeah, 73. Yep.
I mean, like he's an amazing and he's really good at adaptations too. So there's a book about this which would be really cool to read. But I didn't get to it. I couldn't do it.
It's okay.
I was sick this week, and I was sleeping for basically Monday through Thursday. So I really want to see it though.
Look, I'll say right off the bat, it's worth a watch. I think you need to watch this movie, and I think you're either gonna like it or you're not gonna like it. I'm somewhere like in the liking it because it's such an entity to me. It's an enigma of a movie. Like,
great.
Do I wish the movie would have stopped taking itself so seriously? Yes. I really wish there was a version of this movie that got a little silly.
Maybe Bruno Mattei needs to make a version of it.
No, well, what I was going to suggest is that Mike Nichols' son should make this movie.
Okay.
Jeff Nichols should take it on. And now, obviously, he has some similar vibes in his movies that is of what his dad did, but he's also stepped out into like sci-fi and some weird stuff. I think maybe Jeff Nichols needs to do like either a remake of this or a sequel to it.
Dawn of the Dolphins or Night of the Living Dolphins,
or maybe like go by the 28 days later. So it's Day of the Dolphins, so like Week of the Dolphins or Month of the Dolphins, something like that. I don't know. Or Year of the Dolphins would be great. So like, yeah, I think Jeff Nichols should take this on for something. But I will say, like, by the last 30 minutes or so, it really starts to get kind of fun. And the way that it ends and all that stuff's really fun. I was laughing out loud, like, and in a good, not in a way of like, this is so bad. No, it's like surprisingly like enjoyable and like entertain, you get on the side of the Dolphins, and what happens is you're just like, yes, and how it goes down is great. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. I want everybody to experience it on their own, but it's an enigma of the movie. Andrew, tell us more about your thoughts.
Yeah, I just want to say that also Jeff Nichols and Mike Nichols aren't related.
Are they? I thought that was his son.
No, they're not related.
Wow, yeah. I've been believing something for a long time.
I was just saying, I didn't know if you just
I thought they were related.
Or if you just messed that up, but no,
I thought they were related. I really did.
But I can say this about Day of the Dolphin. It's it's a fascinating like anomaly of a movie in the midst of the other works from Mike Nichols.
Mm.
Like you guys were saying, like he does Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, he does The Graduate, he does Catch 22. So he does like
and I
these,
believe
like,
the writer I believe the writer's the writer from The Graduate and Catch 22.
That's
It's the
crazy.
same writer.
That's crazy. And then he does Carnal Knowledge before this,
Yeah.
which is a great movie, which just got both a Criterion and an Indicator 4K release.
It's actually on its way to me from the Indicator sale.
Nice.
cool.
It's that movie's really fascinating. Like he's doing these deep dives into like the human psyche with The Graduate, where you've got like
Now we're going into the dolphin psyche.
yeah, it's weird. Like in The Graduate, it's like this young kid who's trying to figure out his life. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? This woman's kind of having like a midlife crisis breakdown. Carnal Knowledge is all about these guys' like sexual appetites and lives and stuff like that, and relationships. Catch 22 is a satire about war. And then you get Day of the Dolphin, where George C. Scott is talking to a dolphin that is also, keep in mind, like his surrogate son as well. It's like his surrogate like child too.
Yeah, the dolphins call him. They call him
his
dad.
Yeah, it calls him like dad, and I'm like, this is crazy. and I don't want to give it away, but you're right. It plays it so serious to the point where, as a viewer, you're like, should I be emotionally invested in what's going on in the plight of this dolphin and George C. Scott? Or am I supposed to be laughing at this ridiculous plot of these evil like James Bond bad guy group trying to turn these dolphins into assassins? You know what I mean? Like it's like a Dr. Evil plot. Like literally in Austin Powers, they have like dolphins with
sharks
laser beams
with
attached
lasers.
To their heads. It's crazy. What a fascinating movie. What a fascinating movie. And to get George C. Scott, who is always, in my opinion, one of the more serious actors. Like even in Doctor Strangelove, where the movie's, a satire and a joke, he's playing it straight. And that's what makes it so funny. As opposed to like Day of the Dolphin, where he's playing it straight. And is it supposed to be funny? Like
I don't think it is. I think that they really and this will play into my pairing. Like at this point in time, dolphins what in real life, what people were getting into dolphins and trying to understand them. So I think there was a fascination for real in about dolphins. So I think that's why they played it so straight, because they thought, hey, there's a real fascination here. There's some real intelligence here. Let's use this as a mechanism, And I think now that we're past that fascination in some ways, dolphins are looked at differently, and we'll get into that later.
I always think of the show Flipper that I watched when I was a
Flipper,
kid.
Yeah.
Where it was the dolphin that was kind of intelligent. They do say dolphins are more intelligent when it comes to the fish world. I think they're also mammals as well.
And there was a talking show horse in the 50s too, like Mr. Ed or something.
Yeah, Mr. Ed.
Yeah.
So we've had it. But no, I mean, we're not too far. This is 73, you said?
Yeah.
We're not too far from all the like 50s, like Twilight Zone and like all the 50s kind of sci-fi stuff and the monster movies of the 50s. Like, I still think there was a legacy. I kind of can see the lineage here of like, what can science do? And there's like a curiosity around like, what if we train monkeys or dolphins or like whatever, right? I can kind of see it.
Yeah, like an Island of Dr. Moreau type of
yeah.
I mean, we would see that same thing happen in Jurassic Park. I don't know if I didn't steal it. I didn't steal it.
No.
Okay. Because I was.
But what's interesting is that it does like if you go on IMDb, it does put in sci-fi as part of its genre. It doesn't feel like a sci-fi movie. Like even though that maybe what's going on in this is kind of like hard to place in reality, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like, hey, we know dolphins are smart. He found a way to train them to talk. It's not that sci-fi. It really feels like just like straight up that this is just something that's going on. It feels more like political conspiracy thriller than
that's a 70s staple. Like
70s staple,
like political thrillers in the 70s. They were all the rage, of the time.
Yeah. but I can't wait to get to the pairing. But we're gonna go back around to Chris. He's gonna tell us what he's paired with Bruno Mattei's Madness. So
this is a bit of a cliffhanger for anybody who's stuck around too, because I intentionally did not mention what movie Madness is ripping off, because I'm going to pair it with that movie. So, Steven, I'm just curious, just in like 10 seconds, what did you think of Madness?
I thought it was really fun. I mean, it's like I'm not super invested yet in giallos, so I don't have a lot of frame of reference for the genre. Right. But I felt like this one was hitting the spot. I love how it starts. I love how it gets right to it. I love the eyes without a face kind of like thing, going on. I love all that. So cool. Yeah, I thought it was fun.
1982, so about 12 years before. You mentioned his name earlier, Andrew. Dario Argento comes out with a movie that is now being evaluated as maybe one of his best, if not top 5 for most critics now, which is called Tenebrae.
Yes.
I thought you were going to go with another one.
About a novelist who has people that are doing copycat, has a murderer who's doing copycat killings of the characters in his books.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, so Bruno Mattei is kind of known for being a ripoff artist, and that's a bit derivative and, whatever. Like, I like him, so I'll defend him. But clearly, I did a double feature watch. I watched Madness and then I watched Tenebrae right after just to see how similar it was. I was like, oh wait, do you cuss on here or no?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
All right. I was like, holy shit. Because it's like, I mean, it's those games that you can play with kids where you're like okay, the fox went to the blank and then he went to the blank shirt and you I forget what it's called, cross sticks, or I forget what it's called, but like it felt like that. Like somebody took the plot of Tenebrae and they just erased some of the okay, it's going to be a female author
nice.
writing comic books, and then they made the rest of the movie exactly the same. Right. Tenebrae is widely considered, widely critically acclaimed. It's got John Saxon doing a great job. It's got who's the main actor? He's really good in it. I'll pull it up. Anthony Franciosa, does a great job. Daria Nicolidi, who's like a woman who's in a ton of Italian movies, she does a great job. So it's super interesting movie, and it's one of Argento's best in terms of the technical side of it, I guess, because he has the fantastical stuff that he does, like Suspiria and all that, which I like a little bit better. But as far as his more the jollies that he's made, or the more the tamer stuff, Tenebrae is one of his best. Anyways, it's very, very, very similar. I think Bruno Mattei for me is somebody that I go to have fun. Like, all of his movies are fun, and Madness was fun. I mean, it's dark, but it's it's fun.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
I like it. It's been a minute since I've seen Tenebrae, but I remember liking it for sure. I got it up there somewhere. What is it got? It's got an Arrow edition?
It has an Arrow release. It's got a Synapse release.
Synapse, yeah.
Synapse is the 4K. Tenebrae, instead of eyes, is more throat, bloody throats.
Yeah. What's interesting is when you mentioned, I thought you were going to go with opera. That's I thought you were going to go with that one.
Because of eyes?
Yeah, because of the eyes thing in there.
Yeah, those ojos locos.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking at first too, and then it was like you said Tenebrae, and I was like, but yeah, I get it. Yeah,
Opera's a great movie. Watch Opera if you haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, I got it. We got that one too. It's over there on the shelf too. How you doing? All right. Well, that's a good pairing there. A couple giallos if you're in the mood. Andrew, give it to us.
Okay, so it's not that it is a difficult task to kind of, pair this with something, because you can go a bunch of different ways. You could go with a period piece. You could go with another, 19th century British literature adaptation. You can go with any other 19th century literature adaptation. You could go with, like Sense and Sensibility. You could have gone with Wuthering Heights if you wanted to. Coincidentally, I don't think I have any adaptations of Wuthering Heights in my collection, but there's been quite a few of those. Yeah, heck, you could have gone with Frankenstein if you wanted to. I don't know. But what I tried to go for was finding a theme in this movie that has been commonplace in a lot of other movies, and that is the whole enemies to lovers trope that is in a lot of books, movies, television shows, comic books, etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, let me go down that road. And then I started looking up, certain lists of movies about the of movies that contain that. Ironically, this was at the top of all of those lists, so I was on the right track. But I decided to go with an all-time classic, a movie we've mentioned many, many times on here, and that is It Happened One Night.
Nice.
The Frank Capra film from 1934. It is considered, at least in my opinion, the bedrock or the staple of the romantic comedy subgenre. Romantic comedy subgenre. While Pride and Prejudice, I wouldn't say has a lot of comedy in it. There are certain comedic moments. The camaraderie between the daughters when they're talking about different suitors, different men that they're seeing at balls and social gatherings and stuff like that. That's all like really comedic. And some of the proper like social etiquette situations can lean a little towards comedic. There in Pride and Prejudice, there's this really old wealthy lady played by Judi Dench who is so stuffy and so proper. I think she comes off as comedic. I think she's supposed to be a satire of those types of people in that society. So there is comedic elements within Pride and Prejudice, but ultimately it is at the heart of the story is the relationship between Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, and it is contentious. You know, at one point in the movie, they dance at a ball, and it's so contentious. They're so stiff, and they keep like jabbing like verbal remarks at each other, like trying to be social, and they just can't stand to be near each other. But social etiquette dictates that they have to dance with each other. So this movie has a lot of that type of stuff in it. For those of you who have not seen this movie, I highly recommend. I think it's one of the greatest movies of all time, in my opinion, by one of the greats in Frank Capra. It's been available. I've had it on DVD. I've had it on Blu-ray. I have it on 4K in the Frank Capra big old box set they put out a couple of years ago. But this movie stars Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert, and they are this couple that's kind of like by happenstance happened to run into each other, if you will. Claudette Colbert is kind of the how do I want to say this? She's the daughter of a wealthy like aristocrat type guy, and she decides to run away. And her father basically hires people to go and find her. And it just so happens the person that finds her is this out-of-work reporter portrayed by Clark Gable. And he's basically going to use her to get his job back and to get a promotion and to get a big story about, I found the heiress and all this kind of stuff. And they are on basically this road trip throughout this movie. And due to certain circumstances, they get stranded with each other and they have to deal with each other. And initially they can't stand each other at all. But of course, over time, things soften up between the two. A romance starts blooming and movie magic happens, if you will. And it's like I said, it's such a formative film for that romantic comedy genre and just romance movies in general. Because it came out back in the 30s, and it's been one of my favorites ever since I first saw it. I know, Steven, it's one of your favorites as well,
for sure.
So yeah, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's, if you're talking about, like you said, the central relationship, it really does pair up nicely to get that kind of dynamic covered. And I mean, there's just, I would say the charm really lines up good. There's a charming aspect to the relationship that you just get a lot of moments, like when they're trying to flag down a car and she sticks out her, like just showing the woman's power.
Yeah, he's trying to thumb it, and it's
let me show you how to do. Let me show you how to do it.
You're right. Yeah. And it shows the power. Yeah, the power dynamics between men and women and all kinds of stuff. And it is so good. I know it's one that I think classic film fans love a lot.
Yeah. There's one thing I'll just quickly want to just in case anybody listening or watching is like comedies from the 30s. I think the best ones, obviously. I think people would be shocked at, first of all, they're actually funny, but second of all, the way people speak. This is all pre-code, so this is before Hollywood came in and started censoring the content of films. And this one doesn't go too crazy in terms of sex and stuff, but still, there's just the casual drinking, great jokes going back and forth. It's a very funny movie, and it's surprising, I think, for people that don't have a lot of experience in movies from the 30s, how funny some of those movies actually are. Like Ernst Lubitsch and Frank Capra.
I was
going
going to say Lubitsch is, yeah.
Yeah.
We just
Also,
talked
how-
about we just
Yeah.
talked about Trouble in Paradise
Oh.
in our review we did the other day, and I'm trying to Lubitsch is kind of a blind spot for me, so I'm trying to correct that. But yeah, I'm with you. The ones that the pre-code movies, there's a lot of great ones that the timing and all that stuff is great. That you shouldn't turn a blind eye to.
I find pre-code movies so fascinating, considering how much they were able to get away with, and kind of almost like a free-for-all they had in terms of what they could not put in movies before the Hays Code and all that kind of stuff. What is interesting is it happened one night coming out in 1934. 1934 is kind of the year that the Hays Code kind of gets put in place. So it's kind of right on that borderline. And like we were saying, Chris, you'd be surprised how contemporary a lot of the movies from the 1930s and even 1940s and so on are. Like, this movie at its base form is a romantic relationship between two people. That's about as basic a human interaction as you can get. And that's kind of stuff is evergreen in terms of, society and culture and life. Yeah. So that's why I thought it was just so fascinating. A couple of other ones I thought of like 10 Things I Hate About You, which was another one, which is like a enemies to lovers type of story. I was even thinking of going with another Jane Austen adaptation. Like I said, I was thinking of Sense and Sensibility.
10 Things I Hate About You. That's Shakespeare. I think that's
it is.
Yeah.
But the two characters like don't really like each other, and they're kind of opposites, but then they end up getting together.
Yeah. No, I love it. I was just curious. I couldn't remember that was on. That's awesome.
You lose you, Andrew?
No, I'm here.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool. I like it. I like it. It happened one night. Anytime it gets brought up. All right. So how was I going to do this? Day of the Dolphin, the great Day of the Dolphin film. So Andrew brought up Jurassic Park. Now, I wouldn't say I would pick Jurassic Park. If I was to pick, I'd probably pick Jurassic World, actually, because Jurassic World is in a world where the park is now working, and they're actually training the raptors to work with them to do things. And then you have that guy that comes in. Isn't it Vincent D'Onofrio? Didn't he come in and play a character? And he's like, "How are they doing?" They're wanting to use the raptors for military purposes. Mm-hmm. So that movie actually lines up better in the Jurassic Park movies, I think, if you wanted to pick one of them. But I didn't pick that. Another movie I thought about was Phase 4.
Oh, wow.
Because you got like the super intelligent ants that, and then you got scientists come in, and they are trying to study them and trying to figure out how to stop them from doing what they're doing. But I was like, that's leaning into the sci-fi. That's like real sci-fi. It's like, no. I think after watching Day of the Dolphin, I think the obvious choice is you need something to lift you up. And that is Ace Ventura. Yes. Pet Detective is the pick. Nice. Because obviously there's a dolphin that's central to this plot, Snowflake. And Snowflake is being kidnapped in an attempt to draw out Dan Marino, who's part of a plot. There's I don't want to give away the movie if you haven't seen Ace Ventura, which everybody should have seen this movie by now. But there is a twist, and somebody's trying to kidnap Dan Marino. But also the dolphin got pulled into it. So Dolphin's central to the plot. Now he doesn't talk to anybody, but he does do some cool tricks. And as I was saying earlier, it's funny how we looked at dolphins in the 70s, but now in this movie, the dolphin's the cute one doing tricks, and we don't care about his intelligence really that much at all. I mean, unless you think it's really intelligent that he's doing all them tricks, and yeah, they are. They're But if you've never seen Ace Ventura, you have the George C. Scott character played by Jim Carrey, who loves animals. I mean, George C. Scott isn't like Jim Carrey's character in this movie, but he obviously is he loves animals more than he likes people. And I think they just express it in different ways. But he's, first brought in to investigate a murder. And then through that, it leads him down a path to Snowflake, the dolphin getting kidnapped. And he's really on the trail because it's an animal. And he's got all his animal friends that help him along the way, and human friends. And you guys have both seen the movie. Chris, well, you haven't seen Day of the Dolphin, but you know this is a good pairing. You know it just by feeling the vibes.
It's a great pairing.
It's a great pairing. So, do you love Ace Ventura? I'm guessing.
Well, it's an impossible question to answer, right? Because what year did Ace Ventura come out? Like 92, 93, 94?
94.
Okay, so I was 12. I mean, come on. Like, that was my world.
Jim Carrey was like God.
I mean, yeah.
In that
like,
year.
Right.
The Mask and Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura all came out in the same year.
You know, my grandma died at 101 years old.
Wow.
And she was born in 1919. So even in the 90s, like, she was old. And she loved Dumb and Dumber till the day she died.
Nice.
That's a cool lady that likes Dumb and Dumber.
Indeed.
Yeah. She used to crack up at that stupid movie. It's
Big
great.
Big gulp, huh?
All right.
See
ya.
Yeah.
What was her favorite part? What was her favorite part of the movie? You know?
You know, it was always hard to tell. I could tell Grandma Joe stories for an hour. She was a really enigmatic lady. I think she just liked the physical comedy in the movie.
Okay. So being that she probably grew up in a time where the Three Stooges was very popular.
Abbott and Costello.
Yeah,
right?
Abbott Costello, yeah. So that's right up her alley,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
I think she just liked that because, like, there's some great physical comedy in the movie too, with the faces, and like there's that scene where the dog car like jumps over the road,
yes,
like the hill, and the ears are flopping around. She's always laughed there.
Awesome, I love it.
Classic.
Andrew, how do you feel about this pairing?
Well, good. It's an out of the box pairing a little bit, but it also works in a much weirder looking box because you are dealing with animals. You are dealing with people capturing animals for nefarious reasons. So it all works. It lines up.
And I think people you would start with Day of the Dolphin. We would have to get it out of the way. I'm not saying that you don't need to watch it, but I'm saying if you want to stay awake through it, you might want to watch that one first. And then you bring it in with Ace Ventura to wake you the hell up. You know, like
it's true.
Yeah.
It's a nice switcheroo in terms of tone. Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah, Jim Carrey back then, even in the 90s was still, like I said, his breakout was just so immense at the time.
And
even to this day, it has a lasting effect.
Yeah, and you could say this is the direct opposite in tone. You know, like Day of the Dolphin is keeping it super straight and serious when it probably shouldn't, but it does. And then this movie is the silliest movie you could pick.
I think you've unlocked a movie challenge. Watch Ace Ventura first, and then try to watch Day of the Dolphins without laughing.
Actually, you might be right. That does make it a little interesting. Yeah,
that is a good challenge.
You should watch this in the daytime. Then don't watch it too late.
Okay.
But unless you're Andrew, of course.
Right.
But yeah, I giggled a little bit thinking about this. I thought Ace Ventura was a very obvious choice, but I was like, you know what? I'm going with it because there are not many movies with dolphins in it. You know, there's not a lot of choices. I could go away from dolphins, but
yeah, that's why I was thinking of more like mad scientisty, like manipulating animals type of thing.
Sure,
because we've seen that happen so many times. Phase 4 was actually, I thought it was even more inspired pick.
It's a good pick too, but
the 70s science experiment.
I didn't want another serious movie.
What about does Air Bud ever turn evil in any of the sequels?
I don't think so. He just ends up having more puppies
I don't know.
than great at sports.
There ends up being like kids. He has to be evil at some point when you have that many kids. You know? You become a parent. You become. I don't know,
but he's a heck of a multi-sport athlete. That Air Bud, and his kids obviously, like, it's genetic. Like, they're also good athletes too.
Yeah,
which ironically is an interesting connection to real life. If you're a sports fan at all, and if you've been a sports fan over time, you've seen like great athletes, you know, have their careers, and now you're seeing their children start and have their careers. It's a weird way if you live long enough and you kind of follow these things that are generational. It's fascinating. There's got to be a whole sociological study on this of the way that works. That's just me going off on Air Bud and human connection, I guess.
Yes. Well, that's a whole other podcast. Our
That is
Airbud
true.
podcast starts next week, guys.
Yeah,
No,
genetics and movies coming soon.
all right. Well, that does it for this installment of the Unwatched Pile. Chris, appreciate you joining us.
So fun. Thanks, Al.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you have a good time?
Yeah.
I'm glad you were able to dust off one of them unwatched movies.
Yeah.
Don't wait till next time to watch another unwatched movie. Keep watching them.
Promise.
Please. You got over 6,000 movies. What's the percentage? What do you think's the percentage? Not good.
Am I doing percentage watched or percentage unwatched?
Percentage watched.
I'd be stunned if it was 35.
Really?
Yeah, because like the way that I'll buy is like I have every Agfa release, but I've seen 15 of them. Like I'll get around to the other ones. I know I love the stuff that Agfa's doing, but I just don't always prioritize it.
No,
So-
I got you. I'm like I said, I'm going through them now, and I'm like, yeah. I'm looking at a section. I'm like, I haven't seen any of that stuff, and so I'm just like, we'll see. But I think I'm going to do pretty good. I think I'm going to at least be like half my collection's been watched. I think I'm going to say at least half.
That's good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But that is it for this installment. Thanks everybody that's been watching. Of course, if you don't catch it on this, you can get it on the replay on YouTube, or you can catch the audio version later on our Apple Podcast feed. Of course, go check out what Chris has got going on over at the Punk Vacation. Or he said They Live by Film's going to be taking a break. So, but you got all the back catalog. Go back in. I was on there not that long ago. Okay. So you can catch out the interview with me over there as well. And of course, all the other stuff we got going on here at Chasing Labels. I think Andrew's preparing for next Monday's Chasing Labels. Right? Is it next Monday?
It'll be the 20th. Yes.
Yeah, the 20th. So 2 weeks from now. I don't know my dates. We got movies down memory lane coming up soon. And watch out for that stuff. That is it for tonight. And I don't know why people are still in the chat. Get out of here. Just
go watch your Unwatched.
Go watch Day of the Dolphin, please. It's
you have to see it to believe it.